What's going on, YouTube? Today we're going to be kicking off a Fallout 4 survival permadeath tutorial series. In essence, what it is you're going to learn how to survive, assuming your rule set is that if you die, the game's over. You have to start from Vault 111 again. So normally you might play this game without many perks, without much stealth, and you have to get through the game with a lot of uncertainty as regard to radiation and enemies blindsiding you with some bullet from afar. It's basically a sudden death mode at the early parts of it, so one wrong move, one unaccounted for bit of chaos, and your run is over. Your hours are sunk and you have to start over, if you were going to play by such a rule set. By contrast, what I'm trying to offer here today requires a little bit of investment of effort, but if you're trying to play under that rule set, it gives you a consistent, replicable, and skill transcending ability to deal with the wasteland, and you will be able to reach a point with your character's power level that you can survive even in a permadeath playthrough with a combination of resources such as stealth, power armor, perks, and importantly, your total health, which is a function of your endurance skill, a couple of perks, and your character's level. So if you're level 80, for example, you might have, with 10 endurance or with extra perks, you might have 800 health. It roughly follows that scheme of being tied to your level. So how do we get level? Well, we're going to need to get a lot of XP, and my method employs using the cages from the Wasteland Workshop DLC, because it is a one legitimate way to get a ton of XP consistently, and the best part of it is that you can avoid any dangerous combat engagements with this method and solely work from within your settlements and slowly trade up, and guarantee you can make it from being weak level 1 and then being a high level, an ascending level, and get a lot of XP and good resources without using any duplication, any exploits, nothing like that. So I want you guys to give this video a like, because if you don't really like the video, you're not going to survive in the wasteland, plain and simple. So let's get to it. So the first thing you're going to do is exit the vault, and it gives you one last chance to change your special point attribution and allocation. So what I would do is make sure that you have Charisma 6, and you probably don't even need something such as Agility. In my original playthrough that I do here, I got 7 Agility because I thought it would be paramount to have sneak attack, ninja perks, and have good stealth, of course, which requires at least 4 agility to get the stealth perk. But if you're going to be going on the method I'm using, you actually don't really need stealth for the most part, or agility. So you basically want your charisma for sure, and you may alternatively wish to do a luck idiot savant strategy for XP with 1 intelligence, or perhaps it might be more practical just to have decent intelligence overall so you can get stuff like the science perk, because my method will involve industrial water pumps to gain money. So you need to have the science and the requisite intelligence to get that. So just keep in mind that it's very important to have 6 Charisma 6. Finally, one other allocation of special points I'd recommend is Perception 5, because you want to have Demolition Expert later on so you can start crafting your own grenades with your settlement supplies, because it will be a good supplement in addition to what you can get from the farm style we're going to be using. Make sure that you have Charisma 6. So I'm going to give you guys a rundown on what you're going to do once you leave Sanctuary. You're going to head south. You're going to hide and dodge every single enemy you find, as there are a lot of enemies like blood bugs that have poison, and they will do a ton of damage to you, so there's no chance of you surviving with no armor and a 10mm pistol, which cannot kill these enemies possibly. You are going to go on a train bridge that'll take you across the river, and you're going to go past Oberlin Station. The next thing you're going to do is travel south past Vault 81, and you're going to go to an easterly direction until you reach a place called Big John Salvage. At Big John Salvage, you're going to sneak and you're going to try to reach a series of wires that go from a turned up train car all the way to a power switch. There are plenty of super mutants here who will kill you in one shot, so you're going to stealthily at night, preferably, take that power switch, turn it on, and go back to the train car without ever being seen. And then once you go in the train car, you get a railway rifle, which has 100 damage at its base level. It can be further augmented, of course, by perks, but it is a much better base damage, almost on par with the Gauss rifle that you get at the beginning of the game with an ammo type that you can retrieve the ammo, unlike almost all the ammos in this game. And once you have that weapon, you can just leave and leave the same way you came in with stealth. Then you're going to want to go further south to a depot of the army that has a Mr. Gutsy. You are going to sneak past him and take the suit of power armor you find, walk a little bit to the east with it, get out of the power armor, and you're going to go further east till you hit the ocean, all while remaining stealthy so you don't get killed. The next thing you're going to do is go into the water, even though you'll take radiation damage, and swim to the east straight and then south in such a way that you don't even go near the land, near the Atom Cat's garage. Instead, you're just going to go straight to the Atom Cat's garage while swimming in the water, because in the swampy areas leading to the Atom Cats, there can be Mirelurk hunters which will one-shot you. You're going to go to the Atom Cat's garage, and you're going to steal their power armor and take a fusion core from the fusion charger or generator, whatever you want to call it. And you're going to go into that power armor, you're going to leave, and you're going to go back to your old suit of power armor and transfer the armor pieces to the frame that is unowned. And you will go back to Sanctuary now with a really good suit of power armor that is late game and a weapon that is almost on par for a stealth sniper build with a Gauss rifle. Subsequently, you're going to scrap most of the stuff in Sanctuary that isn't useful, like ruined houses and just furniture pieces that have no use to the player. And in doing so, you'll be able to build a few water pumps, the basic type, which oftentimes they take up settlement space and settlement bar, but they're the most efficient as far as the resource costs versus the output of water that they produce. So once you do this, you can go to Diamond City and sell the first batch of water you produce and buy some resources like gears, copper, other useful things you'll need, maybe rubber. It really depends on what you have and what is relevant to the things you're trying to build. For example, antiseptic might not be the most useful thing for this purpose. So you're going to just want to buy things that you need. Then go back, and preferably you do this in the power armor so that you don't get killed, and you use stealth, and you take the right routes that I show in the video, and you should be good to go. So you go back to Sanctuary, and now you find Trashcan Carla showing up. Perhaps in the first place, you might just trade with her, but you're going to want to build more and more water pumps, and eventually you're going to want to use the resources you acquire through purchasing to build generators and industrial water purifiers along the river. This will give you a huge boost in water production, and it will be more efficient at a certain point to do this than to use water pumps, just because you need the gears for something else, something that you radiantly need them for, that is to say continuously. And the water pumps, they're just not as good, and sometimes the resources are more plentiful to build these industrial purifiers and the generators than just building water pumps gear for gear. Gears at this point in the game are going to be your rarest resource, because with the surplus and the output of all these water farms and money we're getting and resources we buy, we are going to be using gears to construct radstag cages, and we're going to put them in a closed gallery that you can like shoot at the radstags. And what you essentially are going to do is power the radstag cages, wait a few days by sleeping, take the radstag cages and turn off the power via a switch you attach to the generator, which you then attach to all the cages, and you shoot all the radstags, of course. And you're going to do this in a successive fashion, replacing the gears with the gears you buy every once in a while until you reach level 14. As soon as you reach level 14, because this is a pain and gears cannot be attained in a good supply, you are going to want to go down to Egret Tours Marina, and you're going to establish a settlement there by convincing the woman that lives there to leave, and you are going to go back and use your local leader perk that you chose at level 14 to send a provisioner there to establish more resources. Then you are going to build gunner cages there, but before you do that, you need to build stores in your original sanctuary settlement to build up a supply of caps, and of course copper shipments and steel shipments, so you have enough steel and copper to build gunner cages, and of course the caps, because caps uniquely with gunner cages are used as the bait. To establish a gunner cage, you need 500 caps, but you really only need 5 caps to repair them. So subsequently, it's pretty easy to replace these gunner cages once you have them built, but you might need an investment of say 12,500, 20,000 caps, however many to build the desired number of gunner cages. So you're gonna go down to Egret Tours. You can establish some shops there too, and water pumps to continue the process, so you can locally produce the water and finance your own means to keep the gunner cages going. You're going to use this settlement because it's got water, and if the gunners fall in water, they will not be able to shoot at you. Otherwise, on survival, at your level, the gunners will kill you with their plasma weapons and their powerful combat rifles, laser rifles, and you are not going to be able to survive. However, if you have them dunked in water, they're not going to be able to shoot their guns, so you'll be able to just have them contained in one area, throw a grenade, and efficiently kill dozens of them. And you shouldn't really feel bad about it, because they are not, the most moral people in the world. So the other thing you have to consider is that it's not really the most lore-friendly or realistic way to lure a bunch of people in the cages. It's kind of illogical. But given that the Sierra Madre lured people in with its wealth, and the gunners are probably drugged up and their minds are affected by radiation, it's hard to say whether it's realistic or not that they would fall for this. But once you do all that, you're just going to have Demolition Expert rank 1 and 2 to make more grenades, and the whole idea is that you arrange the gunner cages facing a central pool, and the lowest level will be based on concrete foundations in the water. By having all the gunner cages facing each other, and arranged in a tower fashion with successive levels of platforms that the gunner cages can stand on. All the gunners are going to fall into the central pool, and then you just use grenades to get rid of all of them. And once you do that, you're going to start racking up a lot of XP. They drop stim packs, they drop stealth boys, which is really useful for a permadeath playthrough because stealth is going to be a great way to ensure you survive. But once you have all this going and demolition expert, and you have enough cages, and you're buying copper and steel shipments, and you're producing caps, and you have all the infrastructure established, you can start racking up levels fast. And the benefit of having all these levels will be high HP, and you're going to have a lot of perks that you can use, like rifleman, for example, if that's going to be your choice of weapon. You're going to have stealth perks. You're going to be able to add a stealth boy modification to your power armor. You're going to be able to have ninja sneak attacks that augment the sneak attack damage. You're going to have so many perks that will make your character stronger, more able to survive. And you're going to combine a high health statistic with great damage resistance from the power armor we got at the beginning of the game. And at the high levels, you're going to get good weapons, but conversely, you're going to have enemies with better health. But you're going to be much more survivable and tanky because you have very high HP. You're going to have good stealth, which you couldn't have had without the perks at the beginning of the game. The overpowered nature of perks is such that the only downside is the barrier to entry, which is you need to get a high amount of XP to unlock all these perks. And to make a powerful build, you need to combine a lot of sources of XP. And in the single typical playthrough, you can kill a lot of enemies, survive with more XP, but it's going to be hard to get enough XP legitimately in a typical playthrough. But because we're using the Wasteland Workshop cages, you are going to get a lot of XP, and consequently, you're going to have a very high level character, a lot of health, armor, and you're going to have stealth, so you won't be seen. And when you are seen, you'll be able to take a lot of damage, and you'll have augmented weapons that have high damage based on the perks that you've chosen. But if you play well, then there's a lot of fungibility with your build as far as making mistakes, so that the one time you make a mistake, it's not run ending because you've done all this preparation. Anyway, I hope you guys liked this video. I hope it taught you something about survival, Fallout 4 permadeath. I want you to like and subscribe. Have a good day.